saying, look at these guys, you know, they're running around and they don't have jackets on, they're in short sleeves, they're in their shorts. And I said, yeah, but they're running around. This is absolutely perfect football weather.
Yeah, temperature should be climbing up through the upper 40s as we go. Well, we might be lucky to reach 50 degrees today. The students here on campus, they don't care. They've been ready since early this morning. The Floyd of Rosedale. So the first meeting between the two teams, 1891, as Elise was talking about, though, the Floyd of Rosedale. That started in 1935. And it will be Iowa kicking to the Golden Gophers in those shiny helmets. First time that they have worn those this season. Demetrius Douglas back deep to receive it from Miguel Recinos, and off we go here from Minneapolis. And he's going to do the fair catch to bring it out to the 25-yard line.
New rule this year, and you know, the first couple of weeks, the games we worked, we didn't see anybody use it. Now it seems like just about that ball gets close to that goal line. There goes the hand up. Ball's going back to the 25-yard line. Obviously, a rule that was put in place to reduce injuries in the kicking game.
So here comes Zack Annexstad. Mentioned the ankle not 100%. Both of his interceptions he threw 2 weeks ago, I should say, against Maryland.
Well, you look at the strength of this offensive team from Minnesota. It's with the wide receiver. So I think you're going to see a lot of big-time explosive shots downfield.
Annexstad, the true freshman, has the arm. But on the first play, he's going to defer to the ground game. And Mohamed Ibrahim returned last week after missing a pair with a left leg injury. As we take a look at our Auto Owners Insurance impact players when the Golden Gophers have the football.
Well, I think it's Tyler Johnson. I talked about the wide receivers. This guy is electric. And then A.J. Espinoza, you know, he doesn't even start. 4 sacks. He leads the conference in sacks.
Yeah, Espinoza only had 21 snaps against Wisconsin, but had 13 tackles, 4 quarterback hurries. He is a force to be reckoned with for that Iowa defense. This time Annexstad will throw, and it is incomplete. Rashod Bateman, one that he should have caught, the true freshman. Instead, 3rd and 6.
Yeah, I like what they do right here. They go, and it's well covered, but they get it to Bateman, and you know what they'll say? You got to hold on to that ball. That's been Tyler Johnson's problem. He is a dynamic receiver, but he's had a problem holding on to the football.
Johnson is their leader out wide. Bateman, though, a kid that they are really, really excited about from Tifton, Georgia.
Now, Iowa is not a big blitz defense. They like to play coverage, and they like to put pressure with only 4 guys. But here comes the blitz.
And the blitz is coming from both sides, and Annexstad has taken down Anthony Nelson with his 3rd sack of the season.
Well, I can tell you that's a departure from Phil Parker, what he normally does. You're going to see them tee up, and here comes 27 out of the secondary, and man, a lot of pressure right off the bat. And I asked, you know, Phil Parker, I said, you're playing a true freshman quarterback. You know, you want to pressure him when you do. He said, well, pressure really isn't in our DNA, except with 4 guys.
Yeah, they brought the pressure there, though, and got to him, and now we have our first flag of the game.
Ball start. Offense number 36. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Referee John O'Neill backing Minnesota up 5 more.
And you saw in that blitz, number 27, that's Amani Hooker, who plays safety for them, and he's a local guy. He's right here from Minneapolis at a Park Center High School.
Did not get an offer, though, from the Golden Gophers, playing with a little chip on his shoulder out there today. Punt from Jacob Herbers. And it will be good field position. Speaking of Hooker, he's the one that comes up to field the punt for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And Nate Stanley's going to start at the 47-yard line right near midfield after a 34-yard punt.
Well, you know, that's the whole mentality. If you win the toss, which Iowa did, and you defer, you rely on a kicking game to put them back deep in their territory and then play good defense, force them to punt, and now the field position battle and early in this game swings in Iowa's favor.
There's Kirk Ferentz. Said he really thought his team took advantage of the bye week, and they are fresh and ready to go after that loss at home to Wisconsin 2 weeks ago. An early look at the right arm of Nate Stanley and wide open Nick Easley. Pitch and catch all the way to the 40-yard line for a gain of 13.
Well, you know, the thing about it, Iowa wants to run, but if you load the box, in other words, you put more hats up there than they have blockers, you take a safety and put them down, they're going to throw the football, and that's what you saw right there.
And they want to get those wide receivers more involved. We talked about the tight ends and all the catches they've had. And here, Ivory Kelly-Martin swallowed up in the backfield by a combination of Winston, Delano-Bodere, and Thomas Barber.
Well, here comes a zone. They're a zone football team. You can see the right tackle. He bounces off his man and lets inside penetration. You've got to secure the line of scrimmage first before you go to the second level. Right tackle did not do that in that case.
Delano-Bodere, his second tackle for a loss this season, and it makes it 2nd and 12. Still Ivory Kelly-Martin, the sophomore in the backfield, standing to the left of Stanley. And complete another really easy pitch and catch, this time to Brandon Smith. It'll be 3rd and short as we take a look at the Auto Owners Insurance Impact players.
Well, Torrin Young, one of the running backs, they got 3 good running backs. He's their leading rusher. They want to run the football. And on defense, Blake Cashman, former walk-on playing linebacker. This guy makes a lot of plays.
3rd and 4 officially. And the ball just inside the 35-yard line. From here, it would be about a 51-yard field goal, but Iowa's not thinking about that right now. Handoff inside. Kelly-Martin, he's not going to get there. He needed 4, he got 2, so go for it here.
Well, if you have a great field goal kicker you have confidence in, you go for the field goal. If not, go for it on 4th down.
Recinos, his career long is 48, and that's right around what this would be, but they're going to keep the offense on the field.
You saw that 3rd down play by the Gophers, really good. You saw the safety come down real fast and play run. Remember that later for play action pass.
And we might remember this play later in the game, too, a big one. Stanley rolling, throwing, completing, 1st down Iowa. Ihmir Smith-Marsette, the sophomore, with his first catch of the game, and it's a big one.
Yeah, Iowa gives that Gopher defense a lot to think about. You know, 87, which we talked about, he lined up one side, he motioned the other. Everybody worries about him, then they come out with break contain the other side. Good route. Soft corner, went for the pitch and catch throw.
So already catches by Easley and Smith-Marsette. 2 of the wideouts are trying to get the ball to more often this week. For Stanley, 3 completions to 3 different receivers. Minnesota rushing 4. Nearly intercepted. Terrell Smith, the freshman, could have had a pick 6.
Well, I tell you, if he would have picked that under, no one would have touched him. And you talk about Terrell Smith, the freshman out of Georgia, and they think this guy is going to be really good. And he baited Nate Stanley into that throw. He backpedaled, planted, and came up.
He's one of 8 true freshmen that has played all 4 games for Minnesota. A lot of youth on both sides of the ball. Hockenson goes to the backfield, and the handoff to Kelly-Martin. Just shy of the 20, stopped by Thomas Barber. Minnesota rushing defense, they were good weeks 1 to 3, and then Maryland 2 weeks ago, 315 yards.
Yeah, the first 3 games they were spectacular. Now, granted, they really didn't play any teams that like to run the football. They played Maryland, and man, they gave up 350 yards. A lot of big plays, an 80-yard run, a 60-yard run, 2 more for over 20. Very atypical of the Gopher defense.
They're hoping to get back to normal form here this afternoon. Third down and 7. Pressure coming. Completion to Kelly-Martin out of the backfield. Down to the 5-yard line. Jacob Huff with a touchdown, saving tackle, 1st and goal.
Well, you'll see it right here. They take the snap out of the shotgun. They got a little game in the middle, but I think that might have been Carter Coughlin. Tried to hold him up, and he got run over, and that's why he was wide open.
It's not easy to plow over Coughlin like that, but Kelly Martin did it. This time with a fullback Ross leading the way. Kelly Martin gets it inside the 5 before he's stopped by O.J. Smith, a gain of 2.
Yeah, you talked about Ivory Kelly Martin. He missed weeks 2 and 3, so we know that he's back healthy now, and they like their running backs. And when I talked to Rob Smith, the defensive coordinator from Minnesota, he liked all those running backs. He said they're great zone runners, and they can put their foot in the ground and make the cutback run.
Well, they have options in that backfield, but so far, number 21's been the go-to guy. Over the middle, caught, and guess what? It's a tight end. T.J. Hockenson, his first touchdown catch of the season. And the folks who have made the trek from Iowa City enjoying the early lead. Well, the 4 previous tight end touchdown passes, Coach, were all to Noah Fant, but Hockenson now getting involved.
I told you they had 2 good tight ends.
Boy, do they ever. PAT is good by Recinos. On that drive, Nate Stanley, 5 completions to 5 different receivers. The last one. And now commanding the offense, Annexstad. And he overthrows that in the direction of Tyler Johnson. Had a little time, just nobody to throw to.
Yeah, well, you know, you knew he was going to try to go deep early, but let's watch right here. He was looking deep, but, you know, both receivers fell down. You know, it's awful hard when you're a quarterback and you're back there and you have pretty decent protection. You say, uh-oh, where'd they go?
And those are 2 good receivers that we've already discussed in Johnson and Bateman, but they're not going to do much good.
You know what the coaching point on that is? Pick up your feet. That's what you say. I mean, you can't just trip and fall out there.
See if they can stay upright on 3rd and 10. Annexstad off his back foot, trying to dump it underneath, and a big loss. Back to the 20, 5 yards in the wrong direction, tackled by Parker Hesse.
Well, you know, the thing about it is, you know, there's no secrets. I talked about that Minnesota have to do a lot better job protecting the rush of Iowa. So, you know, you're either going to go with some max protection, you go from draws or screens. And if you're going to keep your ends rushing hard, which they did there, to protect against the screen, you take the inside guys. And yeah. I'll tell you, Kirk Ferentz, they're not a finer gentleman in college football than that guy.
What a pleasure to talk to him this week again. Yeah, he is all class. Longest tenured FBS coach, Kirk Ferentz. Kelly Martin out in the backfield, so that Minnesota run defense, we said they had to be better this week, and they have been. Big hit that time by Thomas Barber.
Well, it's just the outside zone. You can see the blocking, and they got the first line block, but, you know, you better account for number 41. And he wasn't real happy the way that he played against Maryland last week because he's a heck of a football player.
4th generation Gopher, and now he'll get a breather on 3rd and 8. But Kelly Martin, 6 rushes, just 7 yards so far. And this time it's Mekhi Sargent in the backfield with Stanley. Pressure up the middle. Stanley. Oh, he's got him wide open. Smith-Marsette down the sideline and into the end zone. Touchdown, Iowa. Stanley avoids the pressure and hooks up with Smith-Marsette for a 60-yard score.
You talk about avoiding the pressure, but a late pickup. Look at that. I mean, he just gets a hand up. Sargent just gets an arm on that blitzer, gives it enough time, and you got to credit Nate Stanley. He goes to scramble. I thought he was in a run, but he kept his eyes downfield.
I had just mentioned that Sargent came in for Kelly Martin for that 3rd down play, and you said it, just chipped enough to keep Stanley upright. Stanley, last 2 passes have gone for touchdowns. The one to T.J. Hockenson and then the 60-yarder to Ihmir Smith-Marsette.
Yeah, and if you're Rob Smith, you're thinking about we saw Terrell Smith miss the pick, which would have been a pick 6, and then the blitz there, if he doesn't get a hand on him, to tackle for a loss.
PAT good. Iowa tried to extend their win streak.
Each time he comes over to the bench, he shakes the hands of his receivers and O-line, and Flex says he loves to see that kind of stuff out of his quarterback because it shows he's not just thinking about himself during these tough times. He told us multiple times yesterday that he is going to need to fail before he succeeds.
He's 1 for 3 so far. He looked good through the first 3 weeks, had the struggles and the 2 interceptions in that loss at Maryland. His ankle's still a little hobbled, but he says much better than it was 2 weeks ago. As Ibrahim is hit after just a gain of 1. And it's tough to run against that Iowa defense. You talked about it. They are near the tops in the league in every category.
Yeah, you know, and for Big Ten people that have watched the game for a long time, if you look at Iowa, what you see is what you get. They've played this same defense ever since Kirk showed up. They didn't play it very well in his first couple of years, but ever since then, they're awful tough.
And those ranks were FBS ranks, not just Big Ten ranks. As Annexstad lost a high ball that is incomplete in the direction of Tyler Johnson. Now, they wanted interference on Amani Hooker, but there will be no call.
Well, you can see he breaks contain, and then he just throws the ball up, and I think it's a good no call. I mean, he's got position. It's a very poorly thrown pass. It's into the inside, and
yeah, I don't see anything Amani Hooker did wrong. So Minnesota possibly staring at a 3rd straight 3 and out, and we've got a flag down.
Illegal substitution. Defense, 12 players in formation. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
And 5 yards, that would be Minnesota's longest gain of the game right there. It came on a penalty.
You know, that's a rule that's being called in modern football. It never used to be called. It used to be, you know, 12 men on the field, but you can't have guys out there and quarterback standing back trying to think, wait, I don't understand this defense.
So now they need 4 yards on 3rd down. Annexstad. It is caught by Tyler Johnson. He has struggled with drops all year. That time it popped in the air, but he's able to reel it in for 13 yards.
Yeah, that's the type of pass that he's got to catch, and you can see the mistake is he's trying to catch it against his body rather than his hands. He's too good a receiver. Very fortunate that he held on to that.
Everybody knows it, including Tyler Johnson. That's the one thing he has to improve. Hang on to that football. He only had 12 yards against Maryland, but that's because he was double-teamed a lot, Tyler Johnson, as they go to Ibrahim, and an 8-yard gain. So their longest 2 plays of the day come back-to-back. Tonight on BTN, Jonathan Taylor leading the 16th ranked Badgers as they host Nebraska. It's Under the Lights in Madison, getting underway 7:30 p.m. Eastern right here on BTN. And also you can watch anywhere on the Fox Sports app. First time that the Minnesota offense has been across midfield in Iowa territory. And it's the first carry of the game for the freshman Bryce Williams.
You know, when you look at this Minnesota offense, I think it's only fair to say, you know, these running backs are pretty good, but they're not in the same level of Shannon Brooks, who's gone for the year. Rodney Smith, who I really like, had another season-ending injury. So they're, for all purposes, down to their 3rd and 4th team back. And they're still pretty good, though. Young guys.
Yeah, Rodney Smith, week 2, torn ACL. Shannon Brooks recovering from a torn ACL. He is in pads today, but he's not going to play. And back to Bryce Williams they go for a pickup of 4. But that really changed everything. Smith, all he can do is watch.
Well, you know, coaches want to talk about injuries, but if you looked at the roster of the Minnesota Golden Gophers and you listed, you know, the top players on their team, if you took Shannon Brooks, Rodney Smith, and Antoine Winfield Jr., those are the 3 top guys, and they're all on the sideline.
We just saw Winfield And that's really changed things for their defense at safety without him on the field. Annexstad. And that is caught by Chris Hartman-Bell. He's able to pull it in. It'll be 1st and goal, Minnesota. A nice 34-yard pass from Annexstad.
Oh, that's a 50-50 ball there, and he brings it on down, awful good. And you know, the Gopher offense went from anemic to now they're running the ball, they're passing the ball, and that type of play, I think, is what's needed. Explosive plays, taking shots downfield against this Iowa defense.
And that's one of those true freshman corners, Riley Moss. The other one, Julius Brent's a true freshman. Both of them starting today in place of Matt Hankins and Michael O.J. Mudia. Wildcat, Seth Green. So it wasn't Annexstad this time. It's Seth Green as he carries it inside the 5.
Yeah, Seth Green, who was a quarterback. They moved him to tight end. Then he became part of the Wildcat package. And ever since Rodney Smith has been hurt, big, strong running back, they've been trying to use more Wildcat with Seth Green to add that dimension to it.
Yeah, and it'll alleviate some of the pressure off of those running backs, Ibrahim and Williams. And it will be Green staying out there. He has 4 of their 5 rushing touchdowns on the season, so this is his territory. And he's going to keep. And a swarm of white shirts brings him down after a gain of 1.
Well, it's a big 3rd down, and you know, the Golden Gophers have left a lot to be desired in the red zone this year. They're only scoring 76% of the time, only 58% of the time touchdowns. So this 3rd down in this situation is huge. They've got an excellent field goal kicker in Emmitt Carpenter, but they don't want to settle for a field goal.
Green off, Annexstad back in, 3rd and goal. Annexstad, short drop, puts it in the air, and it is caught for the touchdown by the freshman Rashod Bateman.
Excellent the Iowa guy. Yeah.
Inside of a minute left in the opening quarter.
That was Julian Huff that went by, who normally is a real sure tackler.
6 of 7 so far for Stanley. They'll give it off to Kelly Martin. For Ivory Kelly Martin. His 7th carry of the game, and he only has 9 yards.
Well, you see big number 99 right there in the middle. O.J. Smith, that came to Minnesota by way of Alabama, transferred from there, and he's a mere 6'2", 320.
Well, they needed him after losing Steven Richardson in the stove.
Yeah, Steven Richardson played along. Problems that the offensive tackles from Minnesota had. Well, Tristan Wirfs, the right tackle, the sophomore right tackle, he got beat bad there.
Yeah, Carter Coughlin got in a hurry, and that disrupted everything for Nate Stanley. Demetrius Douglas back deep to return it. And a low, wobbly punt from Rastetter, but it does take a nice Hawkeye bounce to the 17-yard line for a 45-yard punt. As we check back in with Elise Menaker.
Brandon, defensive coordinator Phil Parker was livid after that Minnesota score. He was yelling at his defense, if you're out there, you're going to need to work. And then in a completely different tone, Coach Ferentz came over and said, just come right back and go. Come right back and go. As you can imagine, that calm demeanor of his. The final message from Parker to his defense, we need to go out there and finish just like we started. So different tones and messages, Brandon, but I think equally effective.
And you see that note at the bottom, starting 2 true freshmen in the secondary for the first time since the year 2000, when they started 2 guys by the name of Bob Sanders and Benny Sapp. So continue to keep an eye on those cornerbacks for Iowa. Over the middle, and it's caught. Chris Hartman-Bell with another catch.
Boy, you give this guy time to throw, and you know, for a true freshman, he makes the read. And we've said many times, we're going to probably say it many more times today, they've got good wide receivers, a lot of them.
Yeah, they've got Autman Bell, Tyler Johnson, Rashod Bateman, Howard, Douglas. But this time they'll go to the ground, and a big hole there for Ibrahim. Finally dragged out by Geno Stone, but a first down, gain of 11.
I am really impressed, not just how they've picked it up offensively, but how they've been able to run the football against this Iowa defense. And, you know, they've got good backs, and there's a third and fourth back on the team.
Tyler Johnson with a block there, setting things up for Ibrahim.
Stone misses that tackle. It's gone.
Iowa got up 14-0, and it just felt like there was no energy in TCF Bank Stadium. But that has really shifted, and just as I say that, a sack of Annexstad. Anthony Nelson, Amani Hooker were coming in, and that's the second time that Anthony Nelson has gotten to Zack Annexstad.
Yeah, well, you know, we talked about the problems that you have, but I'll tell you one thing, Anthony Nelson used that little swim move, left hand, right hand over, and he was gone. And his dad, Jeff, played defensive line in the early 90s. He's proud of that move.
Oh, proud indeed.
He's saying that's just how, like, I used to do it.
So he came into the game with 2 sacks on the season. Now he has 2 here today. And that was for a loss of 11. Off of play action. And guess what? Who's there? 98, Anthony Nelson.
Yeah, you can't fault the offensive line of the Gophers there. He had all time to throw it. And you just got to watch that guy right there, because his motor's running right now, and you're not going to block that big guy with a back. You're not going to do it.
But you said it. There was time for Annexstad.
Oh, yeah.
That was just a coverage sack.
No, that's right. He's got to go back. He's got to make his read, his release, or run or throw it away, because you're going backwards.
3rd and 24. Testing that young secondary of Iowa.
And they're playing deep, and they should.
Annexstad moving. And taken down from behind as he flings it forward, incomplete. Chauncey Golston with a pressure. Iowa ratcheted up the intensity that time on Annexstad, and his ankle has been bothering him, and he seems to be limping.
Yeah, he's limping now, and that mobility problem was against Maryland was very evident. Thought he was pretty healed, but you'll see right here, they get him around the ankle. Ooh, he might have been down. To run the football. Nowhere to go there. Credit the Gopher defense, and credit Nate Stanley throwing the ball away, because he had no place to go.
Stanley so far 6 of 9, 108 yards, the 2 touchdown passes. Max Cooper went in motion as they give it with a fullback blocking. It was Ross leading the way for Mekhi Sargent.
Well, you go from one extreme to the other. That time they came out with 22 personnel, 2 running backs, 2 tight ends, and ran the football effectively.
And Zack Annexstad is being taped up. Mentioned that ankle.
Not a good sign.
No, he thought it was close to 100%. He had the bye week. They really took their time. He got a lot of treatment. They eased him into practice. So that'll be something to continue to track. 3rd and 1 here.
Unbalanced formation, motion back.
And they'll give it to the fullback. And Brady Ross picks up the first. And that's where they use Ross, his 6th rush of the season.
Yeah, well, they're just going to come off the ball if you get a hat on a hat. And you know, you got a fullback that's 6 foot, 245 pounds that doesn't carry the ball very often. That's his job. You block, and on 3rd or 4th and short, we give you the ball, get the first down.
The first 3 drives for Iowa, they just had 9 rushing yards. In the last 2 plays, they've had 14. Stanley running rolling out and throwing for the first down into the hands of Brandon Smith. First catch for the Mississippi native.
Yeah, that's a real simple play to run. They use turn-back protection. Everybody on the line will turn back left. You break, contain. You got a two-man route, 2-on-1. The short guy comes up, you lay it over his head. If they both drop back, you give him the guy in the flat.
And the guy in the flat, Brandon Smith, he had the same stats the last 2 games. 2 catches for 24 yards against both Northern Iowa and Wisconsin. He had 14 yards there. Sargent, he's got a first down and a hard hit. Bowling over Kamal Martin for the first down.
Well, you can't let Iowa do that. They run the outside zone. They pull a bunch of guys. There's no edge on the defense. And around the corner they go. And you see Wirfs there. I mean, that guy's 6'5", 320 pounds. And he's looking for a linebacker or a defensive back. That's problems.
And it was Jacob Huff, not Martin, that he collided with there on the side. And Jacob Huff even more important today because you mentioned the Antoine Winfield injury, out for the rest of the year. Now Huff is the leader at safety. This time not as much for Mekhi Sargent.
You know, you mentioned about Jacob Huff. You're right. They've had to restructure their whole defense because when Winfield went down.
Officials timeout for an injured defensive player.
When Winfield went down, you know, normally he's the guy that becomes the force guy. Well, his replacement couldn't do it, and they don't have anybody there. So he gets bent back, and Blake Cashman, one heck of a football player out of Eden Prairie High School in the western suburbs, and he's one of those guys I really like because he makes a lot of plays. Not a guy that the Gophers can afford to lose on defense.
Yeah, leads them with 6.5 tackles for loss coming into the game. Yeah, PJ Fleck said yesterday, it's one thing to have injuries, it's another to have the injuries to the guys that we've had, which are their best players on offense and defense. And now Cashman on the sideline as well. Stanley to Fant. So there is, by most accounts, the best tight end in college football. And he got wide open on a little dump off.
Yeah, he's what I call one of those hybrids. You know, he's a tight end because of his size, but athletic ability. I guess you'd call him a slow wide receiver, but you put the two together, man, he's tough to defend.
8 first downs by 7 different players for Iowa as Nate Stanley continues to get a lot of different receivers involved. And you mentioned Fant, 16 touchdown catches, most ever by an Iowa tight end. As this time it's Nick Easley, his second reception of the game, and he takes Iowa into the red zone.
You know, Nick Easley's a wide receiver, been around Iowa City for a long time, the 5'11", 205-pound senior. And I think most Hawkeyes are worrying, you know, hey, you need to show up a little bit more because you're a good player.
He has 14 catches this year, but 10 of them came in one game against Northern Iowa. And the good news is Blake Cashman is back on the field for Minnesota.
Empty set.
Boy, that's a big sigh of relief for Rob Smith and that defense for the Gophers. Stanley, incomplete. A rare drop for Ihmir Smith-Marsette on 2nd and 5, makes it 3rd and 5.
Yeah, they went to the empty set, so you have confidence in your offensive line, picking everything up because you're going to get no help. You see it right there, and you got to throw it on time. It's wide open, and hit him right there, and again, tried to catch it against his body.
So Kirk Ferentz looks on. 3rd and 5 from the 18. And Stanley able to complete it down to Brandon Smith. 1st and goal, Hawkeyes.
Nice ball. Good protection. Good route. Soft corner. They read man coverage there, so he knows the corner has to protect him deep. Pushes him off. Puts the brakes on. Turns around. The ball's there. Result, first down.
And it was Smith catching it in the soft defense of Smith, the cornerback. And we discussed earlier, a true freshman. Iowa on this drive, 4 plays of 10 or more yards, sets them up. 1st and goal, and the handoff to Sargent takes it inside the 5.
Yeah, they went 22 personnel, as I talked about before. So here comes Brady Ross, the fullback, number 36, and not going to carry the ball. You got to block. He went in and blocked the linebacker.
And Ross is a great flashlight, if you will, leading the way in that Iowa running game.
Pride of Humboldt, Iowa.
And a junior that they are happy to have back there. He's leading the way in the I form again. But Mekhi Sargent was stopped in his tracks. Royal Silver with a tackle, but there was also some friendly fire here that brought him down.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, Kamal Martin does a nice job on the edge there, using his hands, and there's nowhere to run. I'll tell you, this Gopher defense is really salty against the run. They've only given up 1 run where they lost contain, but they're playing tough versus the run.
So 3rd and goal. Iowa 2 for 2 on 3rd downs on this drive. And whistles before the snap.
Prior to the snap, charge timeout, Minnesota. They're first.
So P.J. Fleck wants to talk it over before a key 3rd and goal. And throws to his left for Hockenson, and it's too high and too far, and good coverage by Antonio Chenault.
Yeah, it's too high, too far, too late. That's why the ball went out of the end zone. Good coverage. You really had nowhere to go with it.
And Chenault was draped all over him. And Chenault, he's playing both corner and safety today, seeing some time at safety with the injury to Antoine Winfield. And look at this, 4th and goal. And they still have Stanley out there. Or no, that's Rastetter, the punter. But they snap it to the right, and it's Hockenson. And T.J. Hockenson is in for the Hawkeyes. Kirk pulls a rabbit out of his hat. How about that direct snap?
Wow, I'll tell you one thing. I really thought they shifted over there trying to get Minnesota to go timeout, to get lined up just to use a timeout. But, man, you got to credit the center. That's pretty good left-handed, throwing it on over there. And good blocking. And who said that Kirk Ferentz isn't a tricky guy?
That's a BTN standout presented by Auto Owners Insurance. Recinos adds.
Snapped the ball with his left hand. They have misdirection. And the rest is history. Here we go. They don't know where the ball's going.
And great blocks, and that gets T.J. Hockenson in for his first rushing touchdown on his first rushing attempt of his career.
These tight ends do it all, don't they?
Boy, they do. And, you know, there's been so much talk about Noah Fant, but Kirk Ferentz said, look, T.J. Hockenson, lightly recruited, small-town Iowa. He may not get all the headlines, but he's really good.
Yeah. Really, what I remember him saying was, you know, up until this year, he was a milk carton guy. I said, what does that mean? He says, missing in action, you know.
Oh, boy, he has been big today. And now let's test your knowledge with today's Aflac game trivia. Big Ten, the only conference with 3 consecutive Heisman Trophy winners. Can you name them?
I got the question right last time, so it's your turn.
We'll give you the answers shortly. Annexstad going deep. Got a man out there. Flag comes in. And Rashod Bateman did not catch it. But again, laundry on the field.
Yeah, and you know, we called it in the open. We were talking about it. This is Minnesota's chance.
Defense number 33. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
They've got really good wide receiver. It's the class of their offense. I had looked for them to keep taking these shots even before we knew that Iowa was going to be playing 2 freshman corners, but they're tough to defend.
And once again targeting Riley Moss, the corner. Still almost brought it in.
Yeah, he's
heck of an effort.
Yeah.
But the normal two starting corners, Matt Hankins and Michael O.J. Moody, are both here, and we are told they could be available. But they've been going with the other two, Julius Brents and Riley Moss. And a first down throw there to Chris Autman-Bell for 11 yards.
Yeah, they get it going, and you know, you don't need great protection when you throw those type of routes. Now the deep routes you do, but those little timing routes, what I call three-step routes, and you have slants or fades or stops, you don't need a lot of protection, and they've got the receivers to threaten you deep, to respect you deep. They've got a quarterback who can put the ball in the money.
And Annexstad still looking pretty good throwing the ball. He'll be hobbled running it with that left ankle injury. That ball batted in the air. It's caught. Off the deflection. Bateman still able to haul it in. Maybe not how they drew it up, but they get 17 yards.
That's right. You see it right here. And they get a hand up. The ball is tipped. And good concentration. And really, his eye was lucky. Normally, when something like that happens, it goes the distance.
Parker Hesse got the left hand on it, and then Jake Gervais, the safety, almost came in and clobbered Bateman, but he missed him completely. Annexstad has hit 6 of his last 7 passes. He'll give it back to Ibrahim, the diminutive back, and maybe a yard. It's the 5th possession of the first half for Minnesota, and we see 3 punts and a touchdown so far.
Yeah, it's kind of been feast or famine. You know, let's face it. And a big part of their problem again was when they had the inability to protect the quarterback, and Iowa consecutively came up with sacks.
Protection, protection, protection. That was the struggles against Maryland for Minnesota. And that is incomplete. Tried to fit it into a tight window. But Amani Hooker was able to jar it free before Demetrius Douglas could grab it.
The tight window's right, and you got that right. The corner squeezed him, and Amani Hooker coming down from the strong safety position is breaking on the ball.
Would have been a tough grab for Douglas. 3rd and 10.
Iowa defense moving around quite a bit. Here comes the blitz.
Yeah, they bring 5. Throw downfield. Off the deflection, it did hit the ground before Julius Brents was able to catch it. He's shaken up as Brents.
Officials timeout for an injured defensive player.
Well, the pressure was on there, and I would call that just he just heaved it. That was a wish and a hope. He had no idea what was going to happen here.
Autman-Bell, the intended target. And Brents slow to get up. He's one of those true freshman corners that we were talking about. Just landed hard on that side. You said it, though. That was just a toss-up and a prayer.
Yeah.
And Minnesota, as Brents goes to the sideline, they're going to try a long field goal here. You talked about Emmitt Carpenter.
49-yarder.
He hit ones of 50 and 53 against Fresno State earlier this year. And this will be a 49-yard attempt.
Not much wind, if any.
They know he's got the leg. Oh, how about that? A little wind in the Twin Cities to aid the redshirt senior Emmitt Carpenter. 21-10. All right, let's take a look at this message from ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire, the official hiring partner of the Big Ten Conference.
Some job boards give you tons of the wrong resumes.
Back in. 21-10 with 4 minutes left.
Iowa's had inability to run the football.
And they only have 40 rushing yards. Kelly Martin, and again, nothing there. Thomas Barber and others in on the stop.
I mean, they're getting it back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. I mean, there's nowhere to run.
Maryland gashed them for the 315 yards on the ground that we discussed earlier, and they made it a point of emphasis this week. We cannot let Iowa get that ground game going.
Well, a little misleading against Maryland because there was a lot of big plays because of a missed tackle that should have been a 1 or 2 yard gain. But they're playing exceptional run defense right now.
Fant in motion. A laser of a pass, incomplete in the direction of Noah Fant, but it's broken up by Kamal Martin.
Yeah, that's what's so dangerous. It doesn't work here, but you see the tight end, Noah Fant, thrown way behind him. They've got the ability to run the seams. 2 tight ends that can run the seams.
If Stanley was able to put that on the money in front of Fant, could have been a big reception. And a big crowd here at TCF Bank Stadium.
And they're starting to get into it on 3rd down.
Yeah, they are. 100th homecoming, the Floyd of Rosedale. Big game. Oh, here comes the pressure. Tried to dump off the screen, incomplete. Carter Coughlin was disrupting Stanley, put him on his back. 4th and 10. Hawkeyes will punt.
Well, Jarek, the left tackle, I mean, he absolutely didn't touch his man one bit. You'll see it right here. And here comes Coughlin, who's a speed rusher. And I don't know if Nate Stanley felt that pressure or not, but he let it go. They're very fortunate that wasn't picked off. They were going with the screenplay, but he had no idea where he was throwing that.
Nate Stanley, that first quarter, he was 6 of 7, 2 touchdown passes. In this second quarter, he's 4 for 10. Demetrius Douglas coming up and taking it just inside the 45. All right, let's get that Aflac trivia question answer now on the 3 consecutive Heisman Trophy winners.
It's got to be Ohio State.
Niles Kinnick, Tom Harmon, Bruce Smith.
Wow.
39, 40, and 41.
How you doing?
Look, we even got the pictures.
Yeah.
Now, see, my excuse is, Coach, I wasn't around then. So.
Wait a minute. Wait. Whoa.
No.
Shot across the bow there.
Not at all. You weren't around either.
That wasn't your implication.
And now Minnesota takes over. Ooh, they almost had the connection there to Ottman Bell over the top. Tell you what, if Minnesota could find a way to put points on here, this is a nice end to the second quarter for them.
Absolutely. And, you know, the way this game is starting to develop, we've talked about it. I'm not surprised that Minnesota's throwing the football. And now that going in the second half, if Iowa can't run the football, we might have an air show the second half.
Zack Annexstad, the true freshman from Northland, Minnesota.
Blitz.
Yep, blitz coming. He dumps it off, and then a quick hit coming up to make the stop. Geno Stone, a gain of 5.
Yeah, they were going with a little slip pass out in the flat. Stone, he smelled that right out. Made a good play.
Monty Hooker was rushing hard at Annexstad.
Officials timeout for an injured defensive player.
And the officials timeout for an injured defensive player.
Yeah.
And Jack Hockaday, it's the Mike linebacker who Coach Ferentz has been such a pleasant surprise. He comes off.
Yeah, they can't afford another injured linebacker either.
Well, remember, they're missing Nick Niemann for a couple of weeks with an injury. He went out on the final offensive play against Wisconsin. Pass batted down. Monty Hooker back home in Minneapolis making a nice play.
Well, you know, you mentioned it right before the half. You get down about that 2-minute mark, and Minnesota has the ball. They have momentum, so you look at it. There was a really good stop here by the Hawkeye defense.
And Amani Hooker, the only Power 5 offer he had was from Iowa. Minnesota did not offer him. He has 20 friends and family here today. Felt like he was playing with an extra chip on his shoulder. And this is going to be a fake. And it's incomplete. He overshot Chris Autman-Bell, but the punter, Jacob Erber, showing a big arm. It did not work, however.
Well, you know, that play, I've seen it a lot in the past, and to say, geez, why would you risk that? One of the things that you're looking for is either for the guy to catch it or for the Iowa player thinking it's a punt and you get interference because he's supposed to hold that man up. And normally that's really what you're looking for, that you get past interference. That was a risky move right here before they have 2:02 left. You're down 21-10, and now you've given Iowa great field position.
Yeah, so Iowa all 3 timeouts. Autman-Bell catches his breath after the incompletion. Incomplete. A little high and outside to Smith-Marsette.
Yeah, that was a bullet going out there also.
Stanley's been off on a few throws.
As sharp as they started this game, and things have changed. I mean, that first drive they had was a precision.
It was just 4 for 11 this quarter after that great opening 15 minutes. Swing it out. Nick Easley. Flag comes in at the end of this as he's pushed out by Blake Cashman.
Holding.
Holding. Offense number 12. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat, second down.
Yeah, that's his fellow receiver, Brandon Smith. Meanwhile, that's Jack Hockaday, the linebacker. So they're already missing Nick Niemann, and Hockaday can hardly put any pressure on the leg as he goes to the locker room.
Yeah, remember a year ago they lost their top 4 linebackers through graduation, so it's getting thin. It is thin.
Of course, Josie Jewell was the headliner a season ago. That was a spot foul, so it's 2nd and 15. Nick Easley the target again as he takes it over to the sideline around the 46. Elise, what did you observe there with Hockaday?
Yeah, before he came off the field, he had to be helped by trainers, actually, off the field before going into the locker room. He laid down on the ground, and athletic trainers were working on his left knee, it appeared, and then you saw him go to the locker room, need to be assisted by trainers, or limping if not assisted. And Julius Brents, the cornerback, also went into the locker room earlier.
You know, Brandon, this Gopher defense, they're putting their ears back. They are really rushing the passer. Typically, screen or draw works against that.
Here comes the pressure, and they dump it off left side. Wide open, Kelly Martin. First down, and then some. There you go. You know what you're doing.
That's a simple game.
That worked to perfection. When he caught it, he turned around. Nobody was there.
Yeah. Well, you know, if you're a defensive player and you're rushing and you're coming so close, I mean, you want that sack, and, you know, man, you think you got him, and then you say, uh-oh, it's too easy. There it goes.
And Ivory Kelly Martin, who will turn 20 tomorrow with his first catch of the game. But he struggled to get it going on the ground, as is the entire Iowa contingent in the backfield. Over the middle, caught, touchdown, Nick Easley. Stanley with his 3rd touchdown pass of the half, and his parents in the crowd, Jay and Donita, they love it as well.
That's my boy. There he is. That's what they're saying. That was too easy. Good protection. Easley runs a nice little seam route. Good timing. Nate Stanley throws it right in there.
And the point of emphasis to get more passes to the wide receivers and not just the tight ends. That has worked out well today for the Hawkeyes. So 3 touchdown passes. Both of his parents, by the way, went to Iowa, and they're loving this.
Oh, look at that offensive line. It's a thing of beauty. Looked like Thomas Barber came off him a little too early. You got to keep forcing that man to the outside.
And by the way, getting back to the Aflac trivia question, we do realize that we had a little typo on the screen, and we wanted to fix that. So the 3 consecutive Heisman Trophy winners, Niall Kinnick, not Niles Kinnick, Tom Harmon, and Bruce Smith. We wanted to make sure we cleaned that up.
I don't know. Yeah, you're exactly right. Great player.
And everybody knows.
Kinnick Stadium named after him.
Yes, Kinnick Stadium,
Great
absolutely.
place to play college football, and unless you're the opposing team, tough place to play.
Well, speaking of which, they were so fired up for that game against Wisconsin. Felt like they were going to. That's a game that they've struggled in recently, and they felt they should have won that football game.
Yeah, they really did. And I think all the Iowa Hawkeye fans thought so early. But hey, there's 1:35 left, and the Hawkeyes still have 3 timeouts. So, be interesting what Coach Fleck, what kind of approach he takes right here.
And that fake punt turns out to hurt Minnesota. As easily able to get into the end zone on the strike from Nate Stanley, 28-10. How would you play it if you're PJ Fleck?
Well, what I would do right here, I mean, yeah, you're down 28-10, but what I try to do is I try to bust something on the first down. You know what I mean? Screen, draw play, a run, or something. I bust it to the 40 or 50-yard line. Now I'm going 2 minutes, but at the very least, what I'll do is if I run the ball, I force Iowa to use one of their timeouts. You know, you can't turn it over good field position with them having 3 timeouts left. You can't do it.
Watch the play clock here. And instead hit and drop. Chauncey Golston. 4th sack in this first half for Iowa. He slipped right through there, the sophomore from Detroit.
Well, you accomplished to get Iowa to use one of the timeouts, but not in the way that you wanted. It'd been okay if you would have ran a running play for 2 or 3 yards in timeout.
And that'll bring up 2nd and 16 with 1:27 remaining.
29 seconds.
Tuesday night on The Journey, see how Iowa offensive lineman Dalton Ferguson has a very personal take on the Iowa Wave tradition and go behind the scenes for the Maryland-Michigan game. Don't miss The Journey, Big Ten Football 2018. It's Tuesday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern right here on BTN. He's the man. Chauncey Golston just made the play, and maybe a little pinch of the neck right now. He's getting that worked out on the sideline.
You're so tempted if you're Minnesota because, again, the mismatch is on the outside. And there they go.
They're throwing and completing. A lot of room to run. And all the way inside the 30.
You can see why they want to throw it. There's a mismatch there.
Tyler Johnson, he's the guy, and finally he wakes up.
Yeah, watch it. Good route right there. Runs right around the defender. Old Tyler, he gets his hands on the ball. That's when he becomes even more dangerous.
52 yards. I mentioned he only had 12 yards against Maryland. Was double-teamed most of that game. Maybe that's the catch he needs to break out. And this time for the end zone. And it is intercepted by the freshman Riley Moss. Well, they have picked on him time and time again, and this time he says, no, sir.
Well, that's the biggest play Riley Ross has made in his young career, I can tell you that. Oh, good defense. Look at that. Goes and gets it up at the highest point. Brings the ball in.
Great coverage in front of Chris Autman-Bell. And the first pick of his young career. So Julius Brents and Riley Moss both getting the start today at cornerback. Julius Brents was the top-rated commit in the 2018 class, but Riley Moss was toward the bottom of the recruiting class.
Well, you know what Kirk first thinks of those recruiting rankings. He told us.
And then a teaching moment on the sideline. Fleck and Annexstad. Iowa with 2 timeouts and a minute and some change, and there's an interception. Jacob Huff with a pick. Wow. Momentum shifts. And Annexstad will come right back onto the field.
Well, I can't even begin to explain this play by Nate Stanley. I have no idea where he's thrown it.
I'm shocked. That's just not a Nate Stanley play.
Not at all.
And the Hawkeyes and the Gophers hugging it out after a pair of interceptions. Wow, what a big change this could be. First and goal from the 6. Back in the end zone, no. Little too much for Rashod Bateman.
I mean, you wouldn't expect that out of a true freshman quarterback that didn't play at all, what Nate Stanley did there. Because one of the things about Nate Stanley we've been really impressed with is his decision making.
I mean, we noted that his passes have been a little inaccurate today, but the decision making, that's another thing. Minnesota can get the ball in the end zone here in the PAT. All of a sudden, you've got some momentum going into the locker room, and they get it into the end zone right there. Tyler Johnson, touchdown.
And as you would say, we got us a ball game. I mean, he's under pressure. He puts the ball right on the money to his favorite receiver. I mean, he has pretty good time, but they get to him, and at the end, and you got to credit Zack Annexstad. He stands in there. He knows he's going to get hit, puts the ball on the money.
And right down Broadway from Emmitt Carpenter, and we do have a ball game. The key interception by Huff, and then the touchdown pass, Annexstad to Tyler Johnson.
Yeah, and you got to credit the Gophers. They just keep hanging in there and playing. And like I talked about, it's pretty good protection, but these guys are pretty good. And right there, he knows he's going to get hit. Crumbled up. He's got a bad ankle. That's okay. Touchdown.
And he hung in there, and now, geez, the last 5 minutes and 4 seconds in this game, we've had 24 points scored, and the crowd's right back in it.
And we're just warming up, baby.
We've gone from 14-7 to 28-17 in the last 5 minutes and 4 seconds. And Tyler Johnson, touchdown catch number 14 in his career.
Product of Minneapolis North, local guy.
And those local guys, they're not deterred by temperatures here in early October in the mid-40s.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Out of bounds.
Out of bounds on the kickoff, and that's costly.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Free kick out of bounds by the kicking team. Ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
So the ball comes up to the 35 as we tell you about next Saturday. BTN tailgate heading to Penn State. Dave, Jerry, Howard, Spice, and Michelle, they're going to set the scene before the Spartans and the Nittany Lions do battle, all presented by TIAA. 10 a.m. Eastern next Saturday here on BTN. Brian Ferentz with some instructions to Nate Stanley saying, Nate, don't throw that pass you did last time.
You think that's what he's saying to him?
Man, I'm just so surprised.
He told him that a long time ago. Now it'll be interesting. How do you play? 53 seconds. You got 2 timeouts left. You're up by 11. You go back to your tight ends.
Empty set. give wide for Stanley. And complete it is to the tight end, Noah Fant. By the way, stay tuned for the halftime report. Mike Hall, Stanley Jackson, Corey Wooten. They'll be along from Chicago, getting you caught up on the rest of the happenings in the conference.
Wasting a lot of time here.
Yeah, down to 33, 32. Here's the handoff. Okay, so they go with a pass. That time the run. He's going to be a yard short of the first down.
30-second charge, timeout, Iowa.
Which is key, because they had to use a timeout because they didn't stop the clock moving the chains. That's why they ran the football.
All right, so now you're at your own 44, 3rd and 1, 25 seconds left in a timeout. What are you doing here?
Well, if you have confidence in your running game, I mean, you have 25 seconds left. You run something quick, maybe quarterback sneak, get the quarterback sneak, and then it stops the clock real quick, and you get lined up, and either you clock the ball so you can get everybody set and use one of your timeouts if you're a little nervous.
You need to pick up about 20 more yards to get in the range of Recinos.
But you only need less than a yard for the first down. That gives you not only a stop the clock, it gives you a whole couple more plays to do what you need to do.
Iowa 5 of 9 on 3rd downs today.
I'm really surprised they're not in 22 personnel with running the fullback. They've been pretty good at that this year.
Kelly Martin is in the backfield with Stanley. They'll swing it out to Easley. And Easley pushing forward. Well, that was close.
I don't think he got it.
Yeah, it looks like he's a little short. He tried to lower the head, and now they're just going to let the clock wind down to the end of the half.
Still mix it up, but if they count too many people in the box, don't be surprised if they don't start throwing it.
Well, they have 3 guys they use in the backfield. Kelly Martin, Mekhi Sargent, and now we're seeing Torrin Young in the backfield for the first time. But instead of giving it to him, it's a pass out to Brandon Smith as he's shoved out on the Iowa sideline. Now, we talked about the bad pass. Here are some good passes from Stanley in the first half.
We've been picking up. He did a real good job, especially to start the game. And, the thing about it, one of the reasons they started the game like they did was there was a lot of guys in the box for Minnesota stopping the run. And he was on his game. He scrambled and put the ball down the field. And I think that's why, surprisingly, that he made that bad pass that he did before the half.
Stanley changing things. Still I formation here. First carry of the game for Torrin Young, and he's got the first down. 5-yard gain. First half possessions. A lot of first half possessions.
A lot of
a roller coaster ride.
Yeah. I guess you'd be pretty pleased, except for that one down there that says interception on it.
Well, they jumped out to that 14-0 advantage before Minnesota got on the board.
A big difference. You don't make that mistake. You have an 18-point lead rather than an 11-point lead.
Stanley on the move. Low, intended target Nick Easley.
I'm surprised he didn't throw that ball a little quicker. They've had good success rolling out, but it seems like he threw that ball late. And he could have caught it, but not a good pass.
But still one that the senior Easley usually comes up with. Easley in motion. Mekhi Sargent. So a couple of better runs here on this possession than we saw in the first half.
Yeah, that was well blocked. He stepped out of bounds. So now we'll come up with a key 3rd down play.
Yeah, so 3rd and 3 now after that 7-yard carry by the sophomore Sargent.
They've had some success with the misdirection, especially with the tight end going with the naked, but they're not going to go naked out of an empty set.
Stanley on an island by himself.
Coming with the blitz.
Blitz up the middle, throw down the sideline. Did he catch that? There's a flag as well, but Brandon Smith caught it. Reaching over Smith. Smith hauls it in. Brandon Smith over Terrell Smith.
Pass interference. Defense number 4. That penalty be declined. Result of the play is a first down.
And the result of the play, 26 yards.
Yeah, 3 things that happened on that play. 1 is a poor pass. 2 is pass interference. And 3, most importantly, a great catch.
Did that ball roll on the ground? Looked like he had possession with both hands. But either way, it was pass interference. I think he had it secured. As long as he has it secured, the ball can still touch the ground. Torrin Young mentioned that he's getting some action here in the second half.
Yeah, all 3 of those backs that they have. And you saw Torrin Young there at 5'11", 221. And you can see the sense of urgency. He ran with some power there. He's running for that 3 or 4 or 5 yards on first down and not trying to dance too much. Their goal is to get 4 or more yards on first down. That's when their offense works the best.
All 3 of those backs are sophomores. And there's the junior Noah Fant. He's shy of the marker. 3rd down and 3. Speaking of those 3 guys in the backfield, I mentioned they're all sophomores, but those are some good options.
It is. And, when I asked Kirk about, his running backs, and because he's lost some good guys a year ago, he says, I really like these guys. I like all 3. They're my type of backs.
Those numbers were coming into the game. Let's see what they do here, 3rd and 3. They'll throw it for the end zone. Incomplete. Smith-Marsette couldn't grab it. And here comes the field goal unit. Really hasn't showed much issue with the ankle since getting it taped up in the first half. That was a free-for-all. It's pulled down by Gervais, but he's out of bounds.
Incomplete, second down.
That was another Hail Mary throw.
We've seen a lot of jump balls.
Oh, man, he's just throwing it up there and hoping good things happen. And, watch it right here. He's under duress, and he stops and throws it up, and everybody's out of bounds. But, I guess if I'm an Iowa fan, I'm going to keep my eye on 33, Riley Moss, the cornerback, because he got to play better.
He did have that interception, but as we talked about, they've been targeting him a lot. Annexstad. This time he throws in the direction of the other corner, Julius Brents, and it is caught by Bateman for an 8-yard gain.
You can see it here. They're playing a cushion, rightfully so. You can't get up too tight on those wide receivers, and they throw it out there for a gain. You got to rally and get to a situation like this, and it's 3rd and 2, and it's a critical down.
And Annexstad goes off or out to the left side as they go to the Wildcat look with Seth Green.
And he runs it, but he has run 1 jump pass out of this, too.
They threw a touchdown pass. Also is thrown for a 2-point conversion this year. It's Ibrahim standing to his left, and he's going to keep it Green. And he's got the first down. So he read it, took it around the outside, and picked it up. 8-yard gain.
Yeah, he looks a little banged up and limping, and I'll tell you, that's a big man coming around the corner right there.
That was a pretty good block by the little guy Muhammad Ibrahim as well. And Annexstad, he was just a decoy out there.
Still got to cover him.
That hurt ankle just taking a play off. We got movement. A lot of movement.
Ball start. Offense number 78. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Well, that's Daniel Falele. He's normally the backup right tackle to Sam Schluter.
And Daniel, let me just tell you something. If you move at 6'9", 400 pounds, they're going to see you.
Yeah, you're not going to be missed.
No.
I think that's a safe assessment.
No, they're going to get you.
They've got another freshman along with Falele, Curtis Dunlap, 6'5", 370. He's the backup right guard. Ibrahim with a 4-yard gain.
Man, look at that guy.
He is a big boy. Talk about playing for all the bacon in the Floyd of Rosedale. That's a lot of bacon right there. It's a tough assignment for Anthony Nelson, trying to get around him. Remember that new redshirt rule. P.J. Fleck has played 8 true freshmen all 4 games. This is the cutoff point. You play them more than 4, they can't earn that red shirt. Jumping up to grab at that time, Rashod Bateman. Anthony Nelson, he has had a really good game for Iowa.
You know, he's an awful good football player. As I mentioned before, his dad, Jeff, also played at Iowa, but he's had a good day. He came to play today.
A couple of sacks in that first half. 3 tackles for loss. You mentioned his dad, Jeff. Preseason second-team Big Ten for Anthony. 3 sacks total. He came into the game with 2 sacks on the season. Now he has 5 as Annexstad is going long. A one-handed catch, no, incomplete. Ottman Bell couldn't hang on. Julius Brents on the coverage.
Well, they had exactly what they wanted because the Hawkeyes came with the blitz. That puts one-on-one coverage on the outside where Minnesota thinks they have an advantage, and man, almost came away with a big play.
Well, Ottman Bell, he did the hard part. He brought it to his chest with one hand. He just couldn't secure it. Now Jacob Herbers, we saw the punter throw a long pass on the fake attempt in the first half that was incomplete. But here he boots it into the hands of Kyle Gronowig.
I had a chance to stop him 60 minutes during the game and didn't get it done. So,
well,
send me the bill.
Well, you had a lot of success here. I would have had a pretty good football team that year. They were 6th in the country.
Which one of the geniuses in the truck came up with that clip? Pat O'Connor.
I was going to say, was it Pat O'Connor or Jim Wrestler? Maybe they were in cahoots.
Yeah.
Maybe they were in cahoots.
Yeah. Some of my buddies, friends like that, you don't need enemies.
And you had them over to your house last night for a steak dinner, too. Boy, they forget quickly. Torrin Young will get the first look here on this drive.
Well, here's what P.J. Fleck was talking about when he said, hey, our defense has got to make some stops. We can't give up any more points. We're trailing the first drive of Iowa. They went down, they kicked the field goal. That's a win, you know, for Iowa. So, you know, now somehow, some way you got to come up with the stop, force the punt, get the ball in good field position for your offense.
Still has been a game of passing between the two teams. 81 rushing yards combined. Pressure from the backside. Stanley lost it. It is picked up and taken inside the 5 by Thomas Barber.
And if I had to bet, it was Carter Coughlin off the backside.
It was indeed.
Recovered by Minnesota. First down.
Coughlin forced it. Barber picked it up. Minnesota's in business.
You're not kidding. Even better than a stop. You can see it right here. Oh, that's classic. He got the ball and it's out. Almost went right in their hands. Thomas Barber picks it up. Now, if Thomas was as good a running back as his brother Marion, he would have scored on that play, but banner play.
So you had that Stanley interception. Now the fumble. Both of them coming very deep in their own territory. And they're going to the Wildcat look with Seth Green. Can Minnesota cash in? Green straight ahead. And he stopped just short. Jake Gervais met him at the apex. Second down. Just kept him out.
Yeah. But nice tackle.
A couple of more hats at it here from Minnesota, and it's still Green. He'll go again, and Seth Green scores it for the Gophers, and we've got a one-score football game.
Yeah, you got 192 yards of total offense, and it's a football game. You'll have 24 points on the board.
Both of those Stanley turnovers leading to quick touchdowns for Minnesota. So Minnesota, 6 rushing touchdowns this year, 5 of them by Seth Green, the converted quarterback, turned tight end, turned wide receiver, turned wildcat quarterback. And he found his way in off the right side here. And all of a sudden, look out, 31-24.
Coughlin, the junior from Eden Prairie, 5th sack of the year, 1st sack on the day, and what a great play. Carter Coughlin, his dad played here, his grandpa played here, his grandpa was the AD here, making everybody proud.
And 31-24 as Iowa's lead has dwindled down to 7. Smith-Marsette with a return, stays on his feet, and finally gets upended by Jacob Huff, the last line of defense. But a return of 48 yards. Smith-Marsette's frustrated, though. He wanted to take that to the house.
Yeah, I'm surprised he took it out of the end zone, but let's watch it. He's going right up the sideline. He runs into his own man, and a couple key blocks, and man, I thought he was off to the races, and that's exactly what the Hawkeyes needed.
A big momentum change. So now they're back on the aggressive end of things here. Kirk Ferentz watching his offense go on and operate with Nate Stanley under center. And the give to Kelly Martin. Martin with a hole. Lowering his shoulder. First down gain as he pushes over Antonio Shadal. Let's go back downstairs to Elise.
After that fumble by Stanley, he didn't really have much to say on the sideline. He just said to his teammates after that Minnesota score, here we go, we now have to come right back, and all of that right in line with how Kirk Ferentz describes his quarterback. He's very even-keeled and leads by example.
And his quarterback here running for his life, and he's hit as he throws out of bounds.
No foul for intentional grounding. Quarterback was outside the pocket, and the ball passed the line of scrimmage. 2nd down.
Yeah, well, you come with the play-action pass, and there's nowhere to run. He throws it away, smart. No intentional downing, no roughing the quarterback. I'm not surprised they came with the play-action pass. You get a run going, you think that Minnesota will put an extra guy in the box, play man coverage, and play-action should be good.
Well, that run before that pass of 15 yards was Iowa's longest run of the day. And now right back to what they had been doing in the run game. Very little. Blake Cashman coming up and holding Kelly Martin to a gain of 2.
Yeah, good run defense. I mean, it's miss and hit as far as running the football as far as the Hawkeyes are concerned.
So that's the 3-man rushing attack, and this is what they've done today. It's been a different story than earlier in the season.
Yeah, nothing spectacular there. Yeah, if you're in Minnesota, you've held him to 73 yards rushing midway through the 3rd quarter. You're happy.
Stanley on 3rd and 8. He's got the first down. Right around the 20. Hockenson, who has 2 touchdowns today, able to hold on for 16 yards.
Man, he threw that with confidence. Look, watch it there. He drills it right in there. And we talked about those tight ends, and they have a way of getting open.
Talk about 2, I don't know if you want to call them safety valves, big playmakers. Hockenson and Fant, Nate Stanley's best friends. Ivory Kelly Martin tackled around the ankles after a gain of 9. And we're inside of 6 minutes left in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, and if you're Kirk Ferentz or Brian Ferentz, you're thinking, you got to be kidding me. This is where the run game has got to take over. We got a big offensive line. It's our mentality. That's what we're built for. We get it on near that red zone. We got to run the ball in the end zone.
Even against Wisconsin's defense, they ran for 148. They're up to 80 rushing yards now today. High formation. Kelly Martin bounces off a one, but then gets dropped. He does, however, pick up the first down.
Yeah, he did it by himself there because the fullback, Brady Ross, the lead blocker, that was a hit and miss on the linebacker. Oh, boy, they got some movement at the line at the point of attack, but then he did it all by himself.
Jacob Huff made the tackle to keep it out of the end zone. Kelly Martin had just 12 yards in the first half. He's got 26 yards on the ground, though, here in the third quarter, and now he's replaced by Mekhi Sargent, who's dotting the I in the I formation, but it's play action. Stanley has all day. Incomplete. Keandre Thomas covering Smith-Marsette.
I don't know if they've lost confidence in the running game, or I know it's been tough sledding, but you get the ball inside the red zone, 1st and 10. And
Smith-Marsette wanted a flag, so did Stanley. Keandre Thomas on the coverage I mentioned. He missed the Maryland game, violation of team rules, but practiced all last week and back out here today. Down to the 5-yard line goes Sargent before he's tackled by Royal Silver. So we'll have third down coming up.
they don't score a touchdown, it'll be very disappointing for the Hawkeyes. 1st and goal inside the 10, and now you come down here, you got to think it's a pass down, and the quarterback in a roll and break contain. Watch out for the tight end.
Yeah, Noah Fant is on the right side of that line. He's looking that way, and Noah Fant has it for the Iowa touchdown. The tight end show continues for the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, I guess if there's one guy that I would cover, I'd find out where 87 is, and he runs a crossing route, and they've got a guy running man for him, but he just can't stay with them. And Blake Cashman, the linebacker, trying to run with him. You probably need a defensive back on him because he's more like a wide receiver. Mismatch.
Extra point good. Yeah, he's a mismatch for any defense. This is his 17th reception, most ever by an Iowa tight end in a career, with 17 of them, as they continue to battle for the 98-pound pig, the Floyd of Rosedale. I can tell you one thing, I wouldn't want to try to pick that thing up by myself.
You couldn't. I'm going to tell you something. You have trouble picking up a cup of coffee.
You know what? I deserved that after my jab at you earlier. So, fair catch from Minnesota. So the Hawkeye defense popping back out here. What adjustments, if any, do they need to make?
You know, if I was Phil Parker, they're really struggling covering those really good wideouts man for man. And so you got to rely on the pass rush. But we talked about before, Minnesota's done a pretty good job going to some max protection by formation. I would think if I saw their chance to go max protection, I would check out of the blitz and not play that man coverage because they can't do it.
It has hurt them at certain times here in this game. It's 38-24 as Minnesota now tries to strike back, down 2 scores. Annexstad has it to Tyler Johnson for a first down out across the 35.
I'm going to tell you, the offensive line for Minnesota is doing a remarkably better job of protecting the passer than they did against Maryland, and Maryland does not have the talent up front that the Hawkeyes do, because that's really a good defensive front.
Boy, is it ever. Phil Parker and Kirk Ferentz, they just praise that defensive line as the strong point for the Hawkeyes. We already talked about the youth, the inexperience coming into the season at linebacker.
See, this is max protection right here if they pass it.
They go Wildcat, Seth Green, so we've really only seen that around the goal line, but this time they do it from their own territory.
And as I mentioned before, They're using this more because they don't have Rodney Smith in there, who is really a big, tough runner inside. So they went to a guy that's not really a running back, but he's got the size to be a running back.
They're staying with Seth Green. What does this do defensively? What adjustments do you have to make?
I think you're just going to play run. I mean, if you're playing run the whole way, you don't think he might run a pop pass, but he's not going to.
We got a flag coming in here, so hold that thought.
I think they're going to call defense offsides.
Offside. Defense, number 94. Jumped in the neutral zone, forcing the offense to react. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Yeah, 94 jumps. He forces that left tackle to move a little bit.
Yardage results in a first down.
Kirk's not happy.
And that's that great edge rusher, A.J. Epinesa, with a penalty.
I think what Kirk is arguing that the left tackle didn't really move very much. He was in a 2-point stance. He just adjusted a little bit.
They'll stay with that same formation. Green will throw, and he will complete it. So Seth Green hooking up with Tyler Johnson.
Yeah, that was an awful good pass. As we talked before, we saw some passes out of him, a jump pass, but I don't think we've seen a regular down play like that on a slant route.
And now Tyler Johnson is at 100 yards. Seth Green in the spring converted from quarterback to tight end. They didn't really have a spot for him, and now he has really found a home as the Wildcat guy. He's going to keep the fake to Ibrahim, and then up the middle inside the 30. Slipping through for his first tackle for a loss for the season.
Sharks timeout, Minnesota. Their first.
So here
30-second timeout.
Here's your situation. It's either 4th and 4 or 45-yard field goal.
Yeah, you either gamble to keep the drive ahead or get the field goal, assuming you're going to get it, and then be down by 11.
Carpenter on the field. Let's tell you about Campus Eats. Troy Johnson, Jenny Dell. They'll show you some of their favorite spots to eat around the Big Ten. All new Campus Eats Tuesday, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on BTN.
I tell you what I think I do. I have a lot of faith in Emmitt Carpenter. I think I kick the field goal and keep momentum on my side. You know, I feel good about it. Now, obviously, if they convert this, then it's the right decision. But I don't want to give Iowa anything to really get excited about.
And 4 yards, you know, that's no gimme. It's not like it's 4th and 1. They need 4 here. And it's Annexstad back at quarterback. Pressure comes, throw, incomplete. Trying to get it to Johnson, but Amani Hooker was right there. And Iowa gets the stop.
Yeah, here, look at Kirk's all fired up now. Great job. He's doing everything. And you know, momentum's a funny thing. I really thought that, you know, Minnesota had a good defense, and they sat right down. I think they anticipated the slant route, figuring they wouldn't go deep, and went to their favorite receiver. And
he was coaching him right through that play, wasn't he?
I don't know if he was coaching or praying. I'm not really sure right there.
4th downs have been huge today.
A lot of them, huh? Wow.
Minnesota,
most of them got in the favor the other way.
That's exactly right. Iowa 2 for 2. Minnesota 0 for 2. We remember that touchdown by Hockenson on the fake play. And they're going to hand this off to Smith-Marsette. So the first time he's gotten the carry today in the run game, the wide receiver.
Yeah, and that jet play is a play that really hurt Minnesota defense the last time they played against Maryland.
Well, Maryland, they really did gouge them on that. You're exactly right, all game long. And that's going to take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. So Minnesota's failure to pick up the 4th down. Now Iowa going to try to stretch this past a 14-point lead. Gophers, meanwhile, trying to hang tough in the battle to the Floyd of Rosedale. Stanley.
Yeah, that Gopher defense doing a good job of getting after Stanley. You'll see it right here. I mean, you got to account for these guys coming. Doesn't matter if he's a freshman or not. He's going to beat. You got to block him. Now, Demetrius' dad played here, Omar. Great player.
Douglas, the redshirt freshman, a lot of speed. Low punt by Rastedter. Here is Douglas. Not much chance to use that speed there as he's buried quickly around the 25. So who's going to get all 98 pounds of glory of the Floyd of Rosedale? We'll find out in about 15 minutes. Seth Green trotting out, 38-24 the score. And the points, though, they've come recently. Here's the windy stat of the game. First 24 minutes, 21 points since 41.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we started slow, but then all of a sudden, man, it became wild. Short fields, turnovers.
But if you like points, it's been a good game for you, and still 14:39 remaining. So Seth Green, the guy, and he's going to throw it. He's going to throw it deep. And he's going to have it intercepted by Julius Brents. How about the true freshman quarterbacks for Iowa? Riley Moss had the pick earlier, and now Julius Brents, the freshman from Indianapolis, the interception there.
Well, we talked about them keep trying to go deep, and man, is that a good interception.
Tyler Johnson was trying to argue that he jarred it free at the end of this play.
I can't see anything there. Oh, at the end, after he rolls over.
Yeah, but it looked like he still kept possession of it.
I think that's an interception.
Yeah, I think it is too. I mean, there it's bobbled, but then it comes back to it.
Yeah, nothing hits the ground.
Those true freshman cornerbacks.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you something. They've been checked out, boy. I'll tell you that in this game. Look at that.
Brent's the top-rated commit in this 2018 class for Kirk Ferentz. Shows you why on that play. So Iowa gets it back. We might see an even heavier dose of the ground game here. Ivory Kelly Martin with a carry. Julius Brent's a happy man.
Man, how would you like to come into a game like Iowa did? And you know, the most potential problem that you have is those wide receivers. And you have to, both your corners are sitting on the bench, and you got to play with two freshmen.
Both 18 years of age. But stepping up and making some veteran plays. Third down. Royal Silver coming up. That one for a loss of 2.
Yeah, the Hawkeyes just can't get anything consistent on the ground. They run a zone play. They pick up 5 yards. Looks pretty good. Come back again. Nothing.
So 2 runs. Now you're 3rd and 7. What are you going with here?
I'm going to throw the ball here.
Well, I know. But
I'm thinking about it. Let me get a little time. I don't know. I like the tight ends. I mean, I've been going with that. I think I wouldn't be opposed again, though, if I read a lot of guys in the box, press coverage on the outside. I'll throw it again. You're not really getting press coverage here.
Nate Stanley, 21 of 36.
But you're getting blitz.
Here is the blitz. Releases it incomplete. Well, he was trying to go to Nick Easley, but Antonio Chenault was with him stride for stride.
Yeah, they got max blitz, both linebackers coming, and they throw it deep, and had a chance.
I don't know that there's anything else Nate Stanley could have done. Chenault, though, with good coverage.
Yeah, it was one of those that would you say, well, who's at fault? It's either a great catch or good deep defense.
Second straight 3 and out for Iowa. Ooh, almost got to that punt.
Iowa bounce.
Yeah, it took a big Iowa bounce all the way inside the 20. So the end result okay for Rastedter. Punt of 43 yards. Good one going here, but keep in mind, great one coming up tonight on BT. And Jonathan Taylor, the 16th-ranked Badgers, hosting Nebraska under the lights in Madison, getting underway 7:30 p.m. Eastern right here on BTN and on the Fox Sports app.
Scott Frost still looking for his first victory.
And it's not going to get any easier tonight in enemy territory. So Iowa, no points off their 2 turnovers. Minnesota, they have taken advantage of the Iowa turnovers and cashed those in for 2 touchdowns. Annexstad, though, nowhere to go, and eventually he's dropped back around the 10-yard line.
Yeah, mistake there, rookie mistake. He saw everything unfolding in front of him. You got to throw the ball out of bounds. Just watch 52 right here. Watch the whole play. And all of a sudden he goes, you know what? I'm going after him. Now you see him coming there, Zach. Let her fly out of bounds. You're out of the pocket.
That's 5 sacks now for Iowa. We talked about the protection problems Minnesota had against Maryland, although that time,
yeah, that
was different.
Yeah, exactly. You got to get rid of that ball, right?
But Maryland sacked Annexstad 4 times, and that was too far, and it's intercepted. It's Riley Moss again. His 2nd pick of the game. Welcome to college football, Riley Moss.
What did I tell you the whole game? Don't worry about these freshman corners. Well, this is just a pass that's thrown up for grabs, let's face it. You can see it's good coverage, and he overthrows the receiver. There's really double coverage on their man they're trying to throw it to, and they convert from defense to offense. As soon as old Moss gets his hands on the ball, so I've been dreaming about this. Give me some blocks, get me in the end zone. Now the emphasis goes back to that offensive line, offense of the Hawkeyes. 1st and 10, inside the 10, red zone. Come on, fellas, you got to be able to run the ball.
So a couple of picks for Zack Annexstad. And now Iowa will finally look to cash in off the turnover. They give it to Fant in the running game on the sweep. And he's hit hard by Barber.
Yeah, they come back with the jet sweep. We were talking before they had some success, but right here, well defended. Big fella left his feet. You're sitting duck when that happens if you don't get your feet back on the ground.
Well, I said Barber, but it was really Jacob Huff with a big hit, and now Fant down to a knee. 2nd half possession, field goal, fumble, touchdown, punt, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you can't be impressed with what they've done in the red zone.
Had a red zone opportunity here, but they went backwards on that last play. He fumbled it, Stanley. Slings it over to Easley. There's a flag in. As Easley is dragged down.
I wonder if there's a lineman downfield.
Yeah, it was a mad scramble after Stanley lost the football.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Personal foul, clipping, offense number 38. Personal foul, horse collar tackle, defense number 31. Those fouls offset, repeat, 2nd down.
Well, so the first foul was on Iowa, and then this horse collar on Thomas.
Yeah, let's watch it right here. He's going for the tackle, and he gets him right there. You can see it. Yeah, pulling him on down. Right side, right there. Oh, got it a little bit late, but you can't do that. You can't go from behind and block below the waist.
PJ Fleck looks on after the offsetting penalty, 2nd and goal. I formation. They'll give it to Young. And he's tripped up by the ankles to the 9.
I'll tell you, Minnesota was fortunate there because with the change of the formation, the Gophers were outflanked. You know, if they could have got the what they call pin and pull, it was Katie bar the door.
Instead, still 9 yards to go on 3rd down.
Got to be impressed with the Gopher red zone defense. Not so much with the Hawkeye red zone offense.
Well, even if they can't convert here, a field goal would make it a 3-score game. Inside handoff, Young. Full head of steam. And the big uglies try to push him forward, but he's going to be short. So you're around the 2-yard line. You still kick the field goal, though, right?
I would, like you talked about, 3 scores. I mean, it kills you because you want to go for it so bad. You're so tired of seeing your offense stalled down here, but you got to be smart. You play it by the book. You go up 3 scores. You're in the 4th quarter. You're under 10 minutes. No brainer. Kick the field goal.
Brian Ferentz said in an article this week, we make all of these 4th down decisions Friday afternoon, so there's no spur of the moment logic erased by emotion.
Well, I can tell Brian there's only one guy that made that decision. It's Dad, Kirk Ferentz. Period.
But whatever the sheet said right there was kick it, and the field goal is good. It makes it a 3-score game. Football on BTN is brought to you in part by State Farm, here to help life go right. Talk to a State Farm agent today. And by Discover Card, the official credit card of the Big Ten Conference. Nothing like going to grab that pig. You told me nothing like being the team that has not had it the previous year and sprinting over to grab it.
Yeah, they're happy to keep it, but you've never seen anything like a team that lines up and waits for those final seconds and rushes across the field to go get Floyd. It's one of the great sights in college football.
But if it's going to be Minnesota doing that, they have some ground to make up here with 9:20 left.
They got to get with it.
There it is, just outside of the west end zone.
Yeah. Someone's guarding him.
Security. I like his job.
Who, Floyd's or the security guy?
Well, I don't know about Floyd. I might be turned into some bacon later tonight, but the security guard, just get him some hot chocolate. We're good.
Well, you can. They back those corners off a little bit, rightfully so.
Zack Annexstad through the first 3 games didn't throw any interceptions. Now he's thrown 4 in the last 2 weeks. This time low, but it is caught by Rashod Bateman.
Man, Bateman, they really like him. You know, not only does the Gopher coaching staff like him, talking to the Iowa coaching staff, that guy's caught their eye.
Well, late in the process, he had a lot of ACC and SEC offers, but he stayed true to his word to be a Gopher. Up the middle, pretty good hole across the 40. That defense, the interceptions, let's take a look at some of them.
Well, you know, they had a rough start defending the pass, those wide receivers, and then they adjusted. These young guys got the hang of it. True freshman corners going out there making big plays and coming away with the interceptions, 3 of them all told. Difference in the game.
And 5 sacks for that defense as well. Shoestring tackle there by Amani Jones. As we welcome Elise back in.
As you can guess, Brandon, there's been a lot of excitement on this Iowa sideline, and it's all because of Riley Moss. I heard fellow cornerback Mac Hankins say, hey, if you get another one, that's a hat trick. And then I heard Moss kind of say, like, what happened when he came off the field? I think he's really just embracing and enjoying this moment.
Well, it's been a big moment for the true freshman. There's no doubt about it. There is a hat trick between the two, Brinson Moss.
Well, that's a good term to use, being you're in hockey country, right? Hat trick?
Ibrahim picks up the Minnesota first down.
You know, Ibrahim, watching him on film, I'm really impressed with that guy. He runs hard, 5'10".
Timeout for an injured defensive player.
5'10", 205 pounds from Maryland. And the other thing that caught my eye for a young guy, man, does he block well. He got to be awful strong.
Please adjust the game clock to 7 minutes, 57 seconds.
They're going to add 7 seconds to the game clock as Hooker went off for the injury, but appears to be okay. But yeah, Ibrahim, they talked about that low center of gravity. Said he's just deceptively strong. And he's going to be on the field here in the backfield with Annexstad. In this game, 11 carries, 47 yards for him. But Annexstad throwing this time and completing it. Right back to Rashod Bateman. Bateman also has row the boat tattooed on his arm. I don't think he's going to transfer anytime soon.
No, and, you know, they're getting right to the line. They're not, there's got to be a sense of urgency as far as time here. They're getting right up the line, but not running plays quickly, but you can see why P.J. Fleck's excited about the young players in his program. Quarterback, receivers.
P.J. Fleck was a really good receiver himself at Northern Illinois back in the day. He was there from 1999 to 2003 before moving on to being a coach. Started as a graduate assistant at Ohio State and on up the ranks.
Bryce Williams in the game now.
We haven't seen as much of Williams. He only has 2 carries today. Make it 3 carries for Bryce Williams. First down. Stay tuned. Mike Stanley and Chuck, they're going to be along for the State Farm post game, getting you caught up on everything happening in the Big Ten. It'll be Corey Wooten in the studio. Chuck was on game duty today with Lisa Byington. 6.5 minutes left. And the pass complete. So Tyler Johnson, he's up over 100 yards today, 7 that time.
Yeah, we're getting a steady diet of those little slant routes thrown on time.
But the clock continuing to roll.
You start thinking of your defensive lineman, so I can't rush it. I'll just put my arms up. I'm tall. Let's see if he can throw the slant over my arms.
Ibrahim. Eventually wrapped, twisted like a pretzel, and dropped to the ground by Jaimin Colbert.
I'm sure that Bill Parker's thinking, this game's not over, boys. Let's go.
3 possessions, but a touchdown here, and it gets a lot more interesting. Annexstad keeps. Looking for Bateman. He got him. Somehow he fit that between 3 defenders. And Bateman has his 2nd touchdown. Annexstad found the crease.
Yeah, a lot of fight in this team. Stands tall, and you're right. They were closing in from the left. They were closing in from the right, but he got it right in the middle.
Carpenter up and good. Don't go anywhere yet. 75 yards. It did take 10 plays. The last one a pretty pass from Annexstad to Bateman. 41-31. Okay, Mike Rashod Bateman, a couple of touchdown grabs, and Zack Annexstad was 4 for 4 on that last drive to pull Minnesota back within 10.
Yeah, almost a steady diet of those little slant routes, but good execution. And hey, you got to credit the Gophers. They're hanging in there. They're playing. A lot of young guys, no give up. And this game is not over. I mean, I'm not sure that Iowa defense realizes it, but I'll tell you, if the Minnesota defense can get a stop here and get the ball back, 5:35.
Looks like they're going to onside it, Coach. We've got both guys out there. Carpenter, will he kick it? Yes, it is an onside kick, but it goes right to Amani Hooker. Wow.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you if...
I know you were going to ask me, and I would have said, no, I'm going to kick it deep, and I'm only going to say it because my defense is playing well, and
Please adjust the game clock to 5 minutes, 34
for Iowa
seconds.
left a lot to be desired. I would have tried to hold them back up there. The clock's running because they're probably going to try to run the ball. Now you've given them really good field position. To boot, it was a bad onside kick.
Minnesota with 2 of their 3 timeouts. Yeah, that's not how they drew it up. So in plus territory at the 45, Easley in motion. Well, that was Gronewig in motion. So now you can try to eat that clock. 4-yard gain.
Yeah, if you're Iowa, you don't need to score again. All you need to do is keep the ball and get some first downs. And they've not been too bad running the football on first down, but second down's been killing them. Kirk and Brian would tell you, you know, their plan is to run for 4 more yards on first down. When that happens, they really feel like they're in control. The problem is that when they've been 2nd and 6, they come up with nothing.
They got 4 of the first down there from Kelly Martin. And they return it to Ivory. Kelly Martin, but nothing there.
Same old on 2nd down.
So 3rd down at 6. So Iowa will run this down as far as they can.
I would have bet money we would have saw that set with the 2 tight ends, Hockenson and Fant, right lined up next to each other, tight end and wing, and then let them both go deep, but we haven't seen that.
High formation.
Spread out.
And finding Smith-Marsette. First down and a big first down for Iowa.
Yep. Like I mentioned, you don't need to score if you're Iowa. The clock is your friend. You're under 4 minutes. You just need to pick up first downs.
And everybody tight in there at the line besides Smith-Marsette.
Well, they've been pretty effective all day on that break contain roll. And been there most of the day.
Kirk Ferentz hoping for his 147th win in his 20th year at Iowa. Kelly Martin caught up in the backfield again.
Nowhere to go.
Yeah, he's right around 2.5 yards per rush.
30-second charge, timeout Minnesota, their 2nd.
So a timeout will be taken here by P.J. Fleck, 1 remaining. Mike Stanley and Corey, they're going to be along State Farm postgame, getting you caught up on the Big Ten happenings today. In a little under 3.5 minutes. Unless we have overtime if Minnesota has a comeback left.
Well, if you're Iowa, you know, you keep looking at that clock and you got a 10-point lead. And the thing about it is that the worst thing that can happen, obviously, is a turnover. You can't do that. And that plays into some of your decision making. You got 2nd and long.
Kelly Martin back out there against Wisconsin. 14 carries for 72 yards, but today 19 for 42.
Yeah, and Kirk does as good a job as anybody that I've seen. He'll play close to the best. You know, his idea, if we win the game, it's fine. So normally doesn't lose his patience.
Second and 14. Stretching it out to the right. Gets those yards back. And 1 or 2 more. And now Kelly Martin a little slow to get up, but he does.
Officials timeout for an injured offensive player.
Yeah.
He got hit pretty hard.
Yeah, I tell you, officials nowadays doing a great job. The guy looks at all that he's a little woozy, I guess would be the term. You go to the sideline. Jacob Huff.
Led with the shoulder.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like it would be targeting, but you made a good point, though. They don't mess around with that. He goes right to the sideline.
He went with his shoulder. The guy's carrying the football. I don't. Guy carrying the ball, running the football, really, in my thought, is not defenseless.
Kelly Martin had that sprained ankle, miss weeks 2 and 3. Shaken up.
Set the game clock to 3 minutes, 17 seconds. And the play clock.
Yeah, he's going to, it appears, head for the locker room. Not how he envisioned today, going 20 for 47. 20th birthday tomorrow for Ivory Kelly Martin. So a rough day for the sophomore from Plainfield, Illinois. So now you got a 3rd and 9 as the clock winds toward 3 minutes.
And then you got another decision if you don't get the yards. Go on field goal or go for it on 4th.
From here, it would be about a 48-yarder. Once again, the rollout, then Stanley pops and goes the other way. And wide open is T.J. Hockenson. And he is going to be pushed out just short. Almost his third touchdown of the game.
Well, you call this a Y high. Y being a term for a tight end, and you flow one way, and the tight end hides, and he slips back door.
But that right foot is clearly out before he gets toward the pylon.
And on this play, the tight end will either be covered, or as Mike Hall would say, he's wide open.
And boy, was he ever. It was a 29-yard reception, and Stanley's up over 300 now, 314. Gives it to Mekhi Sargent. He's not going to get there. Oh, Minnesota claiming the ball came out, and they've got it. But the officials have not signaled that.
Really around the field was the runner was down before the ball came loose. Second down.
Well, that would have been what Minnesota needed.
Yeah, let's see it. There's a pile there. Yeah, his elbow was down. Yeah, good call. Elbow hit the ground.
Kamal Martin came in there and stripped it free after the fact.
You got to be impressed with this run defense of the Gophers.
So much better than they were 2 weeks ago. Did he get in there? Yes. This time, however, Iowa pushes through with a rushing touchdown. Mekhi Sargent with his 4th of the season, 1st of the day.
Yeah, he got in, and number 99, O.J. Smith, the big defensive tackle, I mean, he came on and put a lick on it.
And Sargent may have just put this one in the left-hand column for the Iowa Hawkeyes as they try to make it a 4-game winning streak in this series.
Ain't over till it's over, but I'd say that's all she wrote, baby.
.47 points. Trying to make it 48. And Miguel Recinos does just that. 1:27 left. 6 touchdowns for Iowa in this game by 5 different players. The only man with 2 was Hockenson.
Yeah, a lot of points in this game. And is she from Iowa, you think? I'm not sure. But, yeah, you know, Gophers 31 points against a team that was only giving up 13 points a game. I mean, that's good blocking in there. And good defense. That's football right there. Not meant for everybody.
Well, you said it, though. They did get in on the running game there, but nothing has come easy on the ground for Iowa today. Now, they are over 100 yards rushing, but they're only at 2.8 per attempt.
Yeah, they can't be. When you look at that offensive line, and, you know, a lot of times it takes more than just the offensive line, but I don't think those backs really had a lot of opportunities. A lot of times they did a pretty good job on first down most of the time, and that second down, there was no place to go.
Minnesota just 69 rushing yards. This has been a game of passing.
A lot of negative yards off the sack there, though.
That is very true. Iowa with 5 sacks defensively that really have backed up Minnesota at inopportune times. .548 passing yards between the 2 teams. This game started with Iowa jumping out 14-0. Minnesota battled back, and now Iowa, that's 17-point advantage. We'll see if Minnesota has anything left in the tank.
Oh, they got stuff left. They've shown no quit in them whatsoever. Gone back and forth. And as a bet man, Floyd's going back down south, down to Iowa City.
The all-time series, Minnesota leads it 62-47-2, but Iowa has won 13 of the last 17. Well, you hoisted Floyd 4 years during your tenure in Minnesota, right through the middle.
Yeah, I think that's right. not enough for a guy still be coaching.
Hey.
By the way, I saw two of my favorite guys in the Big Ten, Gary Dolphin and Ed Polak. They do radio for Iowa. Good guys, man.
Hey, but 4 times hoisting Floyd, that's still pretty good in this series. That's over the head of Rashod Bateman. There's a flag coming in, though, at the end of this, in the secondary. They might get Julius Brents on defense.
Holding. Defense number 32. 10 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
No, instead it's Jaimin Colbert.
Got the wrong guy, he says.
Colbert, one of those linebackers.
Number 20.
Oh, now they just corrected it, and they said it is on Julius Brents. Another high arcing spiral. Johnson can't get there.
Yeah, they went with the, call that a cover 2 breaker. Wide out outside, sat down, the inside guy ran a flag route.
Could have been there just a little far.
There's the former Iowa player that used to be able to throw that better than anybody, our colleague, Chuck Long.
Yeah.
Bar none in college football, he can throw that route.
A legend in Iowa till this day and forever, Chuck Long. And a BTN legend. 57 seconds to go here at TCF Bank Stadium. Anthony Nelson with a tackle as they get it out to the 35.
30-second charge timeout, Minnesota. Their third and final timeout.
Minnesota takes their last timeout. So both teams were coming in off the bye. Both teams said they really were happy with how they utilized their bye week.
Yeah, you looked at Kirk Ferentz. We talked. We said, you know, interesting question. He said, we spent all of February talking about what's the best way to do it. And we decided, you know, we're not going to change anything up. We're going to keep the routine as is, not give him any time off. And then he laughed. He says, but you know how you really judge it? I said, yeah, how you play the next game. So you won the game, so he said did the right thing. P.J. Fleck, he said, you know, we practice. We're so young. We need every day of practice we can with this young football team. We're not seasoned enough to give any days off.
Iowa fans chanting, let's go Hawks. I don't think they're going to rip the goalpost down like they did at the Dome in 02, though.
You had to bring that up again, huh? You know, I tell you, you're something.
You told me I couldn't pick up a cup of coffee. I was so weak. You know?
Well, I was being honest.
Annexstad. Ooh, a hard hit at the end of that. And flags coming in. Oh, boy. Amani Jones. Yeah, that's going to be targeting.
Who's on the... P.J. Fleck ran all the way out on the middle of the field.
Why, he hit Chris Ottman-Bell hard. We'll have to get another look at this.
Let's watch it right here. Oh, yeah, he ducked. Well, he did the shoulder. He hit his shoulder.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Personal foul. Hands to the face by the offense. Personal foul. Targeting on the defense. The ruling of targeting is under further review.
So they'll take another look. I hear what you're saying. He kind of dipped that right shoulder.
Yeah, targeting was on number 52.
Well, let's take a look at it here. Is he defenseless?
Well, this is a good time to welcome in Dick Honig, our rules analyst in Chicago. Dick Honig, what do you think?
Well, I'm not sure that there is an indicator there that would create targeting. He is defenseless. We don't have any question about that. But the question is, did he hit him above the shoulders? And if that's the criteria that we have to look at. It's a hot. It will be interesting.
Yeah, because he hits him with the helmet, Dick, but like Coach said, the right shoulder is also leading the way. It's almost like the helmet and the shoulder hit him simultaneously.
Yeah, but he didn't hit him on the head, and he didn't launch himself.
It's one of those plays that looks so bad in real time,
Yeah.
and it was such a loud thump in the stadium.
Bang. He used to tell the quarterback, don't throw the ball in there. You get the guy killed.
John O'Neill is taking a look at it.
I think in any of it.
Let's see it in real time.
Yeah.
Listen to this.
In anything, I'll say this in defense of Jones. It was not a cheap shot. It wasn't one of those where you had a guy laid out and you're going to knock him off.
John O'Neill is taking off the headset. Here's the announcement.
There were offsetting fouls on the play. Personal foul, hands to the face. Offense number 72. Personal foul, targeting, defense number 52. The ruling on the field of targeting is confirmed. Those fouls offset. However, number 52 is disqualified from the game. Repeat, third down.
So they confirm targeting, which means Amani Jones will miss the first half of next week's game at Indiana.
Well, you know, some of these are clear-cut, some aren't, but I really think what we've done in college football has made the game safer.
But that's also tough because of the linebacker situation. He had Hockaday go out earlier. Nick Niemann is out with the injury. If Amani Jones now not being able to play in that first half against Indiana, they're going to be short-staffed at linebacker. And we resume play as Annexstad slings it downfield. It is intercepted again. Geno Stone, first career pick for the sophomore from Newcastle, Pennsylvania.
You know, Brandon, the Hawkeyes had 21 interceptions last year. They haven't had many this year. Well, they're starting to catch up real quick now.
4 picks for this Iowa defense. They had 2 all season coming into today.
He got hit just as he threw the ball, but again, desperation throws.
Geno Stone all smiles, and the Floyd of Rosedale is going to stay in Iowa City. They do put Autman Bell, who took that hit from Jones, in the medical tent as Stanley goes down to a knee. And Kirk Ferentz and B.J. Fleck shake hands as Iowa makes it 4 straight wins in this series. 48-31 the victory. And Nate Stanley, 314 yards, 4 touchdowns, as Iowa did it mainly through the air.
Yeah, their running game left a lot to be desired. Let's face it. I think Kirk Ferentz, Brian Ferentz would be the first ones to tell you that.
Yeah, 2.7 yards per rush, but all in all, off the bye week, you're 4-1, and Iowa's schedule going forward pretty favorable, all things considered.
Well, you know, it is, and the thing about it is they've had to overcome some injuries. They're hanging tough. It's one of those things. I think they will go back and they'll look. They like some of the things they're doing offensively, some of the things that they got to improve offensively, and I'm sure that you can't look back, but they still look back to that Wisconsin game. You know, hey, we could be undefeated right now, and so all things are good.
Pulled pork sliders tonight in Iowa City, and maybe some crisp bacon tomorrow morning as Floyd stays put on the side of the Hawkeyes.
Amazing, too. You talk about the 20th year for Kirk Ferentz. 2 football coaches in Iowa City since 1979.
Mr. Fry, Mr. Ferentz, and both really, really good. And there they go. Back to grab Floyd. Easy fellas, 98 pounds. First Floyd of Rosedale back in 1935. What a tradition.
Kirk calls it the greatest trophy in all of football.
And the heaviest trophy in all of college football. The Hawkeyes jumped out to the 14-0 lead. Minnesota battled. We had some back-and-forth seesaw action, but it's Iowa in the end with a 48-31 victory, and that will do it for Minneapolis. For Glenn Mason and Elise Smedeker, I'm Brandon Gaudin. Let's say to you to Mike, Stanley, and Cole.